Welcome to Pattern Pals Crochets and Crafts. My name is Teresa and today is Monday Madness and we are going to discuss yarn. I know that when you're doing a crochet project you think, what kind of yarn should I use, or how thick should I use it, or you just don't really know the differences between yarns. I didn't. I thought all yarns was the same size or the same weight. So I wanted to just talk a little bit just about the weight of the yarn. And I wanted to show you this. I know it's black. It looks like a piece of thread. And kind of basically it is. And a lot of people use that to make doilies. I know my mom did. She used it to make doilies. And then there's a number 2, and it's the weight of the yarn. And this is what it looks like. Looks like this. And then there's a number 3 weight, which kind of is just a little bit bigger than a 2 weight. And this is Mandela. And then this is a 4 weight. And this is what I always use. This is what I mostly have used all my life. And this is a 5 weight. It's a little thicker. And it's called bulky. And then they do have a 6 weight, which is super bulky. And then they have a jumbo 7, which is a roving. And the number 6 is also roving too. And your number 5 actually can be used for anything that you want. And but it's used for, just as for crafting, rugs. And it does give you needle sizes, but I don't always go by those sizes. So let's get to talking about our yarns. Okay, I had it here. Okay, and there's all kinds of yarns, the fibers of the yarns. And I'm not going to spend a lot of time because this is a kind of a long chapter. But you do have your wool yarns. They can be made of fibers of any type of sheep. You have alpaca and llama yarns. And so, of course they're made from alpacas and llamas. And this is those two. They don't look any different. And you have mohair. And it has a halo, which is like a fuzziness on the yarn. And from my understanding, I'm going to have to look it up. I thought mohair was made from rabbits. Just like, I'm not saying it is. I'm just saying I have to look that up. And you have your silk yarn. And it's kind of, it's what it says, it's silky. And it slides. And you have your exotic yarns, which I haven't really heard anything called exotic yarns. And they're fibers from the Angora rabbit. Okay, cashmere, goat, yak buffalo, musk ox, and camel are easier to find than ever. I'm hoping that they're just using hairs that maybe they might have shaved off. Because I have seen some gruesome pictures of how they do remove rabbit hair. But I don't know how they do it for yarn. If they kind of just shave it off or cut it, I'm not sure. But I just think that it's not done properly. And I am an animal activist. And they got cotton yarn, which is made from the cotton plant. And they have a linen yarn, which is stiffer than cotton. It wears well because it is stiff. It doesn't really say what it's made from. They got bamboo and hemp yarns, which is made from the bamboo and hemp plants. They got the organic yarns. These are, doesn't really say, I guess it might say on the label what they're made from. You got your synthetic yarns, acrylics, polyesters. That's what I mostly work in. They got blended yarns, which contains more than one fiber. I guess it's just different types of fibers. Here it says, for example, silk added to wool, alpaca, is in it. And when choosing yarn for a project, fiber content isn't the only factor to consider. There are also many choices in yarn textures, from smooth, springy sock yarns to airy, fluffy mohair blends to sparkly, metallic yarns. Each type of yarn texture has its own unique qualities that can affect the crocheting process, as well as how a project looks and feels when it's finished. So here's some of those textured yarns. I don't think I've ever worked in those. I'm going to work in a, looks like a fur yarn. It's a faux fur yarn. Never worked with that before. Then you have an eyelash yarn. It's like a fringe, like where you've been pulling something apart. Doesn't really say what it's made from. It could be made from acrylic polyester. Then you got that Chanel yarn that a lot of people are using to make their amigurumis from, like their animals. And that's from synthetic fibers. Then you got metallics, which I think I've got some yarn with metallic in it. It's made from natural or synthetic fibers, combined with metallic or with a material that looks like metal, such as mylar. Then you got your ribbon yarn. I've seen that worked up, like made in the purses. Then you got railroad yarn, which resembles, it says a railroad, like a railroad track, or a ladder. And I'll show you all those. So right here you got your eyelash yarn, your Chanel, your metallic, your ribbon, and your railroad. So you got those. A lot of these I've never seen or heard of. This says spaced accent yarn. It has a thin core with accents such as sequels. Oh, I guess you get some of that yarn with the little sequel things through it. Then they got the roving. It's a wool yarn that has not been spun, but I'm sure this has been spun. because it's, yeah. You got your thread yarn, which that's what I was showing you with this. You got thick and thin yarns, which we all know that. Some of these I showed you thick and thin. You got mixed yarn. It's any of the yarns described in the section and can be used together to create a beautiful combination. So you can take several different types and make something out of. Okay, and then you got your colored yarns. And let me show you these first. This is your space yarn. That's your roving. Your threads down at the bottom. And this is the thick and thin yarn. And then this over here is a combination. Then we got the colored yarn, which we've all seen these colors, you know. Like here, I've got like this mandala. It's got all these colors in it. And you got your machine dyed solid colors, your hand dyed solid colors. So the top one is machine, the bottom one is hand dyed. And you got your machine dyed variegated yarn. I guess that would be something like this maybe, or something like, I don't have any, where it's just color after color after color, you know, just all over. You got your hand painted yarns. It's painted by a dye artist. You got spot dye yarns. It's hand painted with random spots of colors added to the dye. You got rainbow dye yarn. It's a variegated yarn that gradually travels through a color spectrum. Okay, and that's these colors here. This one is machine variegated yarn. This one is, the one at the bottom is hand painted. Over here is the spot dye, and then this one is the rainbow dye. And then that's going to be it for our yarn today. I hope you enjoyed this. I mean, it was kind of interesting to me because a lot of these yarns I've never seen before. And I know you can just do what you want to with your own yarn, no matter what it is. But it's kind of nice to know that if I didn't know what people did with this, I use it as a thread basically on my amigurumis. But I knew my mom used this to make doilies, and I found this ice yarn actually at a thrift store, and it can be used to make doilies. I'm thinking about using it to make Roman curtains, because I got a ton of yarn. So I hope you enjoyed our explanations and just looking at our different yarns that I knew nothing about. And we will have a next Monday Madness, which we will be talking about, let's see, we'll be talking about our crochet tools, what all we use, or might be something in here you've never known before, might be something I've never known before. And if you want to get your own book, this is called The Crochet, The Complete Guide by Jane Davis, and this is what it looks like. And I got mine at Half Price Bookstore. So until Wednesday, when we meet for What the Heck Wednesday, which we show anything and everything and whatever, I will see you then, and I hope you have a great Monday. See you guys. Bye.